For 1995, I can imagine this was a huge hit. It was probably the bee's knees. But I think nowadays the sensibilities of people in action films, they'd probably say like, oh, it's boring, too much of the talky talks, because these actors are actually spending time creating these characters that are pretty interesting. Hello and welcome to Blockbuster Reviews. If you don't know what that is, it is where I play a single game of Tetris Marathon and try and review a film before the blocks reach the top or till 150 lines. Spoilers are at line 50, and we go right now. So Heat from, was it 1995? I should probably check that. Yes, 1995, directed by Michael Mann. Well, written by Michael Mann. And directed. Written and directed by Michael Mann. Starting off great. Stars Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. A movie that people have wanted for years. A movie that I had not seen for years and had a lot of hype around it. I know that police or is it police or maybe the Marines, they do training on proper reloading procedures based on a scene from this movie. And it has a scene between two acting greats, Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. It's essentially the story of two men. One who is a career criminal who knows how to rob, and a career police officer who knows how to catch robbers. And they meet, and it's really a race to see who is going to outsmart the other, while Robert De Niro is setting up and hopefully committing a really big score or robbery. Al Pacino hopes to thwart him on the right side of the law. And it's really about how these two men will destroy any sense of a romantic life in pursuit of their goal, which is to either commit awesome crimes or to prevent them. The movie's a little long. That was my big thing when I was like, this movie is long. I think it's like 2.5 hours ish, and that's fine if like the movie's engaging. And this movie is. It just there are moments that felt a little longer than they probably should have, and that's okay. For 1995, I can imagine this was a huge hit. It was probably the bee's knees. But I think nowadays the sensibilities of people in action films, they'd probably say like, oh, it's boring, too much of the talky talks, because these actors are actually spending time creating these characters that are pretty interesting. I dug it. I dug it for the most part. I dug it from beginning to end. The story really is about who's going to win in this conflict between Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, and everybody else is kind of pawns. They treat their romantic partners pretty poorly. There is this sense that Robert De Niro's character, which I should say his name, Neil. I'm going to say Robert De Niro. That name's ridiculous. Unless IMDb is lying to me, Neil, or Robert De Niro, kind of lives this loner lifestyle. He doesn't have a wife and kids. His partners played by Tom Sizemore and Val Kilmer. His Robin buddies, they have wives, they have kids, they have lives. And Robert De Niro doesn't seem to have any of that. He only seems to be interested in the score until he meets Amy Brenneman, playing Edie. And then that kind of changes for him. He starts to get a little romantic thing going for Edie, and then it seems like he's going to give up the life after one big score for her. And spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, he's trying to get out after the score goes wrong, after Al Pacino kind of gets a little hint on where it could be. It turns into this huge bloodbath. Tons of shots fired. It's one of those like kind of gritty, realistic action movies where it's like, if there was a gunfight, it's not, smoke and mirrors and a great time. It's just a lot of loud noises, a lot of shooting, and a lot of destruction, and a lot of death. And that's really what that big scene was. It kind of culminates. It has this big blowout shooting scene. And Robert De Niro is left running, but he wants to take out those that are responsible for the dime being dropped. Very long, convoluted story. There's no way I could get through the entire thing while playing this game of Tetris, but it does land with Robert De Niro asking himself, what is more important, just getting out of this situation or getting the gentleman responsible for the crime, who turned out to be a guy that went a little too crazy on an earlier job in the movie. Robert De Niro seems all set up to take his girlfriend out of there, start a new life, to like let the past be the past, but he just can't let this guy go. He comes up with this plan that's pretty dope to murder him in this hotel, and almost gets away with it and almost gets his girl, but Al Pacino is right on his ass, and he just at the very end he decides, I'm going to leave this woman that I thought I was in love with to try and get away from this guy who's coming to get me. The movie ends with Al Pacino over Robert De Niro's dead body in an airport, where Robert De Niro was going to get his own private chartered plane away, but he just had to have that last kill and had to get away from Al Pacino. Now, something else I wanted to talk about this movie. These actors, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, they're treated with such reverence, and they deserve it. They've paid their dues. They've been in great films. I haven't seen as much Al Pacino as I should, and after seeing this movie, to me, I have how do I say this? I don't want to be offensive to Al Pacino and his family, because I know they're watching. After watching this movie, I really thought to myself, because it's a long movie, so I had time to think about it. To me, Al Pacino feels like Nicolas Cage with more respect. Like, he has those moments where he's, like, outlandish and loud and crazy and big and, like, super big performances. He makes weird character choices. He seems like a loose cannon in, like, a lot of the films I've seen him in. But he also does those weird, quirky things, like when he was in Jack and Jill. So, to me, it's like he's just like the greatest actor in the world, Nicolas Cage, but he gets more respect. And now that I've said that thing that probably pissed off a lot of film fans out there, it's pretty dope. A little long, but pretty dope. Last time I saw it was on Hulu. It may not be there anymore, but I also believe it is on YouTube for free. I saw someone had put the whole thing up there as well. Either way, have a good one. Peace.